This is TechCrunch.
Automattic CEO and WordPress co-creator Matt Mullenweg has deactivated the accounts of several WordPress.org community members, two of whom he says planned to spearhead a new fork of the open-source WordPress project. While community criticism of WordPress's governance is not new, the latest brouhaha kicked off back in September when Mullenweg publicly chastised WP Engine, a commercial hosting company built atop WordPress, for profiteering without giving much back. Things soon escalated, with WP Engine filing a lawsuit after it was banned from accessing key WordPress resources, and then a court ordered WordPress to restore access. And amongst all of this, key figures from within the wider WordPress community have stepped forward. Joost van de Valk, creator of WordPress-focused SEO tool Yoast and former marketing and communications lead for the WordPress Foundation, last month published his vision for a new WordPress era, where he discussed the potential for federated and independent repositories. Karim Marucci, CEO of enterprise web consulting firm CrowdFavorite, echoed similar thoughts in a separate blog post. WP Engine, meanwhile, indicated it was on standby to lend a corporate hand. Mullenweg, for his part, has publicly supported the notion of a new WordPress fork, a term that describes when someone takes the code from an open-source project and creates a copy, which can take on a life of its own with a separate community of contributors. In a sarcasm-laden blog post published over the weekend, Mullenweg refers to de Valk and Marucci's plans as a fork, though the duo have not announced any such plans. De Valk did, however, discuss the notion of creating federated mirrors, a repository copy for themes and plugins, among other changes. In a statement sent to TechCrunch, de Valk reiterated that at no point were they planning to fork WordPress, with Marucci conveying the same message on social media. Earlier in the week, Automattic announced it would reduce its contribution to the core WordPress open-source project to align with WP Engine's own contribution, a metric measured in weekly hours, and this spurred de Valk to take to social media on Friday to indicate that he was willing to lead on the next release of WordPress, with Marucci adding that his team stands ready. Now, collectively, the pair contribute around 10 hours per week to various aspects of the WordPress open-source project. However, Mullenweg says that to give their independent effort the push it needs to get off the ground, he was deactivating their WordPress.org accounts. At the same time, Mullenweg revealed he was also deactivating the accounts of three other people, with little explanation given, and those three were Say Reed, Heather Burns, and Morten Rand Hendrickson. Reed, it's worth noting, is president and CEO of a newly incorporated nonprofit called the WP Community Collective, which is setting out to serve as a neutral home for collaboration, contribution, and resources around WordPress and the broader open-source ecosystem. Now, Burns, a former contributor to the WordPress project, took to social media over the weekend to express surprise at her deactivation, noting that she had not been involved in the project since 2020. And over on Blue Sky, Rand Hendrickson suggested that Mullenweg was targeting him and Burns because of their prior objections to governance at WordPress, writing, "So why is he," speaking of Mullenweg, "targeting Heather and me because we started talking about the need for proper governance, accountability, conflict of interest policies, and other things back in 2017. We both left the project in 2019, and apparently he still holds a grudge." It's worth noting that deactivating a WordPress.org account prevents the user from contributing through that channel, be it to the core project or any other plugins or themes they may be involved with. However, as it's hosted on GitHub too, anyone is still able to access the code should they wish to fork it. In what was seemingly a tongue-in-cheek suggestion, Mullenweg said that any new fork could be called JK Press, and they could hold a joint WordPress plus JK Press summit next year. Juiced and Kareem have a number of bold and interesting ideas, Mullenweg said, and I'm genuinely curious to see how they work out. The beauty of open source is they can take all of the GPL code in WordPress and ship their vision. You don't need permission, you can just do things. If they create something that's awesome, we may even merge it back into WordPress. That ability for code and ideas to freely flow between projects is part of what makes open source such an engine for innovation.